We come to church as if we're doing God a favor. That everybody ought to be excited that we have showed up another time for worship. And I tell you today that you better understand me when I tell you that every day is a blessing from the Lord. It's an undeserved blessing because the old preacher would tell you that if justice would prevail, all of us would have been consumed a long time ago. And thank God for his grace and his mercy. The crowd wanted to be in the presence of Jesus, and so they ran afoot that they may catch a glimpse of Jesus. And Jesus was not going to preach. He did not want it to be a revival. It was not a tent meeting. It was only a time for he and his disciples. But when they got there, this milling mob had trampled over the entire ground. Isn't it something that Jesus did not get upset? Isn't it something that Jesus was not bothered? Because he understood what every leader needs to know, and that is when you're in public ministry, there's always a demand and a call on your life. And the disciples didn't understand. The disciples had not yet matured. The disciples didn't see it the way Jesus saw it. Jesus looked at the crowd as people in need. Jesus looked at the crowd as people who were in trouble. Jesus looked at the crowd as an opportunity to minister. But the disciples looked at them as invaders. They looked at them as intruders. They looked at them as uninvited guests. And you know how we are when people just show up unexpected. You know how it is when people just knock at your door and you didn't expect them to come. Don't let the house be out of order. Don't let things, y'all ain't saying nothing right now. Don't let things be in shambles. You peek through the blinds hoping that they don't see you, pulling the blinds aside. Sometimes our lives can be interrupted by unexpected events, but in ministry, we cannot say I'm too busy. In ministry, we cannot say I'm tired. In ministry, we cannot rightfully say that now is not a good time. Jesus looked at the crowd. He had patience with them. Wow, the disciples exclaimed, can't they just leave us alone? Didn't we just leave them back in the city? Can't they give us an opportunity to have a little time to ourselves? Seeing the need of the people, Jesus was moved with compassion, while the disciples were moved with irritation. And that's just the emotion that he was trying to teach his disciples how to make sure that they mastered every situation and employed a heart that was filled with compassion, not a heart that is filled with contempt, but a heart that is filled with compassion. In fact, this was the effect that the crowd always had on Jesus. There was never a time that he became impatient with people, no matter what he was doing. In fact, in Matthew chapter 9, verse number 36, when he saw the multitude, the Bible says that he was moved with compassion. They were as sheep not having a shepherd. When Jesus looked at this crowd, he saw the crowd through the eyes of one who counted life dearly. He looked at the crowd and saw the crowd as one that had compassion on the needs of the people. He was only concerned at that time of meeting the needs of this milling mob. He wasn't concerned about his own plans. He was not concerned about his own personal agenda. He was not concerned about what he wanted to do or what his plans were. He was only concerned about meeting the needs of the crowd through the eyes was one who came to seek and to save those who were lost. He came that men might have life and that they may have it more abundantly. It would have been a contradiction to his life, his legacy, and his love for him not to have compassion on the people. There's something vital in the response to Jesus to the crowd that should really cause us to wonder. Are you praying with me this morning? There's a question that I think all of us as believers need to examine in our own personal life, because every text, every sermon has to have some personal application. Because if it doesn't have any personal application, it's just a story. And whenever you look at the Bible as just being a story, you're missing some vital principles that will help your own personal life. And so there's a vital point that needs to be explored in this text, and that is, what is our natural response when we're confronted, when we're irritated, when we have been invaded in our own personal space? What is your response? What happens when people intrude in your schedule? What happens when people interrupt unexpectedly? What happens when your plans are changed and you can't do what you desire to do? I mean, because really, this place that Jesus and the disciples were on their way to can be viewed as a vacation spot. It was a pleasant place of relaxation. It was a beautiful place with magnificent splendor. But when they got there, the crowd had already spoiled the moment. I don't know, but can I just give you a little personal insight? The other day, I wanted to take my wife, my family to dinner, and there was a new restaurant that my wife has been wanting to go to. And she said, well, what am I going to do with the baby? I said, well, honey, the baby needs to eat too. And she said, well, I want us to go, you and I to go. Somebody know what